Good day everyone, I am Zurong. Today we will discuss effective communications, focusing on the challenges encountered when using technology as a communication medium. Effective communication refers to the ability to convey information and emotion clearly so that they are easily understood by others. This process is fundamental in fostering mutual understanding and building strong relationships, which are essential in both personal and professional contexts. In recent years, technology has significantly transformed the way we communicate. It has made the exchange of ideas and messages faster, more efficient and more convenient than ever before. With the proliferation of digital tools such as email, instant messaging, video conferencing and social media platforms, individuals can now connect instantly regardless of geographical distance or time zone. This advancement has created new opportunities for collaboration, learning, and maintaining relationships on a global scale. Moreover, technology offers innovative ways to express ourselves. The use of visual, emojis, GIF, and video add emotional depth and creativity to our communications, making interaction more engaging and meaningful. Additionally, technology enables the rapid dissemination of information to a wider audience. As communication continues to evolve, alongside technological advancement, it is imperative to understand how to utilize these tools effectively. In this discussion, we will examine the challenges associated with communication through technology and their effect on the interpersonal connectivity.
Hi, I'm XIAO. One of the most common communication challenges we face is message overwhelm. Under the broader issues of message overwhelm, one key problem we often experience is information overload, where too many messages and notifications make it hard to keep up. In today's digital world, we are constantly flooded with notifications from emails, chat platforms like WhatsApp or Telegrams, and various apps. These alerts often come in 24/7, even after working hours. While they are meant to keep us connected and up to date, the high volume of messages can become overwhelming. This non-stop flow of information creates mental confusion, making it difficult for us to focus on what really matters. When everything feels urgent, it becomes hard to distinguish between high-priority tasks and less important updates. For example, imagine you are an engineer working on a critical report, and during that time, we receive 15 emails, 7 chat messages, and a few app alerts. Among these, one message contains urgent instructions from your manager. But because it's buried under so many others, you miss it. This kind of situation is more common than we think, and it leads to mistakes, delays, and unnecessary stress. Another example could be a student dealing with online classes, group assignments, and club activities, and they each send through different platforms like Google Classrooms, Telegrams, WhatsApp, and e-learning. The students may miss an assignment deadline simply because the reminder got lost in the chaos. So, information overload doesn't just slow us down, it also affects communication quality, decision-making, and even our mental health. That's why it is important for us to not only be aware of these issues, but also learn how to manage it better so we can communicate more clearly, stay focused, and reduce unnecessary stress in our daily lives.
Hi, I'm Hui-En. As technology advances and digital platforms multiply, the way we communicate has transformed dramatically. Wow, technology has bridged distance and connected us in real time. It has also introduced new challenges. One of the most significant is digital fatigue. Digital fatigue is something many of us experience, often without realizing it. But what exactly is it? In simple terms, digital fatigue is the state of mental exhaustion caused by overexposure to digital content, be it through smartphones, computers, or social media platforms. The constant influx of notifications, emails, and messages can be overwhelming. Excessive digital content leads to mental tiredness. Think about it. scrolling through endless feed, switching between apps, and responding to constant notification, all of these contribute to a mental drain. Our brain are bombarded with information at a rate much faster than it can process efficiently. Fatigue reduces focus and clear thinking ability. When we are digitally exhausted, our ability to concentrate diminishes. Have you ever tried to focus on a task after spending hours in virtual meetings? It becomes harder to think clearly and make effective decisions because our mental energy is drained. Communication quality and response accuracy suffer over time. As our mental fatigue increases, our ability to communicate effectively decreases. Misunderstandings become more frequent, responses are less thoughtful, and the quality of our interaction drops. It can lead to confusion and even conflict in both professional and personal settings. The impact of digital fatigue is real, and it's affecting the quality of our communication. As we continue to rely on technology, it's important to recognize these challenges and find ways to manage them effectively.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is TENGKU SANI. Hi everyone, I'll be talking about a key issue with over-relying on text. It misses non-verbal cue. When we speak face-to-face, we use more than just words. We rely on tone of voice, facial expression, body language to express how we feel. Text can do that. For example, if someone texts, "Sure, that's fine," it could mean they're okay with it, or they might actually be annoyed. Resultant is hard to tell. This nonverbal cue helps us understand the real meaning behind words. Without them, message can be confusing or even misinterpreted. So, while that is convenient, it's not always clear. In important or emotional situations, using voice or video can help make sure the message is truly understood. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is BINTI YUNUS. One of the major communication challenges that come with using technology is the reduced sense of personal connection. While texting, emailing, or messaging is online convenient, it often lacks of warmth and nuance of face-to-face or voice conversation. Written communication can easily come across as a cold, blunt, or impersonal, even when that's not the center's intention. Another issue is that misunderstandings are likely. In real-life conversation, we rely heavily on tones of voice, facial expression, or body language to understand someone's emotion. But when those cues are missing in text-based communications, it's easy to misinterpret what the other person means. A short reply might be read as annoyed, but when in reality, the person is just busy. To avoid confusion, people often need to make an extra effort to convey tone. For example, by using emoji or exclamation points, or following up with a voice note or a call. But then the emotional depth of in-person communication is hard to replicate. This lack of emotional clarity can also lead to weakened trust and connection over time. In personal relationships, not feeling truly heard or emotionally understood can create distance. In professional settings, it can affect team dynamics and collaboration. Therefore, it's important to be mindful and intentional in how we use technology to communicate, making room for empathy and clarity wherever possible. Thank you.
Hello, my name is HAIKAL. One major challenge in digital communication is the potential for misinterpretation due to a lack of clarity in the message being conveyed. Unlike face-to-face interactions, digital platforms often strip away essential non-verbal cues such as tone of voice, facial expression, gestures, and body language. These cues play a critical role in helping receivers understand the speaker's true intent and emotional state. When these cues are missing, messages can become ambiguous or easily misunderstood. For example, a sarcastic remark in a text or email might be taken literally, leading to confusion or even offense. Similarly, a short or brief response might be interpreted as rude or dismissive even if that wasn't the sender's intention. Furthermore, written digital messages may lack contextual background, which adds another layer of difficulty in interpretation. Without knowing the sender's mood, urgency or purpose, the receiver may draw incorrect conclusions about the meaning or importance of the message. This misinterpretation can have real consequences. Communication can slow down decision making, create unnecessary tension, or even damage personal and professional relationships. In team settings, it can lead to poor collaboration, unmet expectation, and decreases productivity.
Hello, I'm EZAM. For my part, I'll be talking about the rapid spread of misinformation, which is one of the biggest problems under digital misinterpretation. In today's world, information can travel across the internet within seconds, but unfortunately, not all of it is accurate. Many people share news or posts without checking whether it's true or false. This leads to misinformation spreading very quickly, especially on social media platforms. One of the main reasons misinformation spreads so fast is because false content is often shocking, emotional, or dramatic, and that makes people more likely to share it. As a result, fake news can reach more people than real and verified information. This kind of digital misinformation causes real harm. It creates confusion, spreads fear, and leads people to making wrong decisions. Over time, it also breeds mistrust in the media, in authorities, and even between individuals. That's why it's so important for us to pause and check before we click the share button. It only takes a few seconds, but it can prevent a lot of damage.
Hi, I'm FIRDAUS. So let's take a moment to think about how assumption and prejudice affect the way we communicate, especially when we are trying to express ourselves. First, think about judgment. It makes people feel hesitant to share ideas. When we fear criticism, we often hold back. That fear closes us off and limit open communication. Then there is the fear of being misunderstood or criticized. This fear grows in bias or judgmental spaces. When people worry they will be misread or mocked, they choose silence. And that silence leads to missed ideas, lost connection, even conflicts. All of this impact honest communication. When assumptions are in the room, people start filter their words. They say what others want to hear, not what they really mean. That makes communication less open, less real, and far less effective. So what can we do? It starts with awareness. Pause before you judge. Listen to understand, not just to reply. Give people space to be themselves, especially when they see things differently. Because real communication only happens when people feel safe to be real.
Hi, my name is SHAHIRAH, and next I would like to point out another important communication challenge that we often overlook in this digital space, which are the assumptions and prejudice. In simple terms, assumption is what we call a quick judgment that we make on people or situations based on the incomplete information that we got. And while the prejudice are fixed, which are the negative belief that we hold against people, only based on the culture, background, and its personal habits. This challenge will actually lead to the misunderstanding, misinterpretations, or even a conflict. People might feel uncomfortable expressing themselves, whether using their voices or even expressing their faces. For example, imagine receiving a short brief or a quick judgment from your colleague. We simply assume that they are not interested or being rude, while in reality, maybe they are just in a hurry. This small judgment will cause a harm relationship between both sides. The impact of this assumption and prejudice are that they can erode trust and weaken the teamwork, and also discouraging people from giving the idea or even giving the feedback. So, when individuals feel judged or discouraged, they tend to less likely giving a open the communication, and which this will reduce the overall productivity. So this is why it is very important to actively manage and being open in communication. To overcome the challenge, we need to be more mindful in how we communicate online. So for example, if you don't even know the real story behind those things that we saw with our own eyes, it's better for us to ask for a clarifying question so that we don't throw or even we don't express those words that might be hurting the other person's feeling. So by being respect to the others, we can create a very peaceful and honest environment to actually communicate between us openly and honestly.
Hi, I am Chaisya. So for my part, I will be talking about cultural norms and linguistic barriers. In today's interconnected world, digital communication like texting and messaging is fast, convenient, and central to how we interact. But while it allows us to stay connected across distances, it also comes with significant challenges, particularly around cultural norms and linguistic barriers. One of the biggest issues in digital communication is how easily messages can be misunderstood. Without tone of voice, facial expressions, or body language, it's easy for meaning to get lost or misinterpreted. This becomes even more complicated when messages across cultural or linguistic boundaries. For example, American slang like "that's sick" might be meant as a compliment. That's amazing. But to someone unfamiliar with the slang or from a different culture, it might sound negative or confusing. Slang, abbreviations, and punctuation styles vary widely, not just across languages but between generations and cultures. A period at the end of the sentence might be seen as neutral or grammatically correct in one context but cold or abrupt in another. In some texting cultures, especially among younger people, using a period can seem overly formal or even passive-aggressive. Moreover, cultural norms around politeness and directness also influence how people interpret digital messages. In many Western cultures, being direct is often seen as honest and efficient. In contrast, in many Asian cultures, politeness and indirect communication are valued to maintain harmony and avoid confrontation. A straightforward message from a Westerner might be perceived as blunt or rude, while a polite or vague message from an Asian communicator might seem evasive to someone who values clarity. These differences in language use, cultural expectations, and communication styles can lead to misunderstandings, hurt feelings, or even conflict. And most of the time, these misinterpretations are unintentional. That's why cultural awareness and sensitivity are essential in digital communication. By using clear, simple language, avoiding region-specific slang, and being open to others' communication styles, we can bridge gaps and avoid miscommunication. Patience and empathy also go a long way. In short, while digital communication is a powerful tool, it requires mindfulness. Recognizing the influence of culture and language helps ensure our message are not only sent but truly understood. Thank you.
Hi, it's me again. I am Zurong. I'm here to conclude our discussion for today. Effective communication today faces many challenges that, if ignored, can lead to misunderstanding and social disconnections. One major issue is information overload, where the large volume of messages causes important detail to be missed. In this environment, clarity becomes more important than ever. Another challenge is over-reliance on text-based communications. Without tone of voice, facial expression or body language, written messages can be easily misread or misunderstood, leading to digital misinterpretations. Misinformation can also spread quickly when people share without verifying facts, which damage trust and credibility. Cultural and language difference add complexity to communication. Diverse background may cause messages to be interpreted differently or cause intended offense, highlighting the needs for cultural sensitivity. Finally, assumption and prejudice block open dialogue. When people feel judged, they may stop sharing their true talk, limiting meaningful communications. In conclusions, understanding and addressing these challenges is essential for effective communication in our digital and connected world. By being aware of these issues, we can promote clearer, more respectful and inclusive communication for success both personally and professionally.